In Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM heads of government gather for their 45th regular meeting and to launch a year of celebrations to mark the 50th anniversary of the regional grouping's founding. In France, the Interior Ministry confirmed over 3,000 arrests nationwide since the unrest began on June 27th, when a police officer killed a 17-year-old teenager. Also, the 23rd summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has started in India, chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. On Tuesday, in Trinidad and Tobago, the 45th Summit of Heads of State of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, moves forward with a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the creation of the group. The meeting is underway at the Chaguaramas Convention Center, the historic site of the original treaty signing. The leaders participated in the event, gathered for a flag-raising ceremony to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the creation of the organization. During the event, the guests also participated in the planting of a time capsule. The day's agenda also includes a second session of the Hyatt Regency in Port of Spain, where participants will address integration, climate crisis, and economic cooperation.
Our community has demonstrated that resolve and resilience necessary to maintain the course of integration. The Caribbean community has done well. It is therefore fitting that we acknowledge and celebrate our Golden Jubilee. I have every confidence that our deliberations and decisions over the next 2 days of meeting will set us on a course for another 50 successful years.
The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, highlighted CARICOM's intention to continue to contribute to grow despite the current situation.
We have CARICOM as the next best thing to bring about regional cooperation. And we must continue to grow the integration movement by adding new blocks to the structure, even as we strengthen what already exists. Even where there was doubt in the beginning, the experience must have shown us that we are stronger together. And even though we are an amalgam of small pieces of the globe, on the world stage, we might be small, but we are not insignificant. As CARICOM, we are at our strongest. We could be at our best. Let's claim our space in this world and just do it.
And the 62nd Presidential Summit of the Southern Common Market Mercosur, led by the Argentine President Alberto Fernandez, began on Tuesday in Argentina. Organizers assured that one of the topics of the working meeting will be trade agreement that Mercosur is negotiating with the European Union. In his return, after 13 years, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva will take office as head of the Southern Common Market Mercosur. The Brazilian leader, referring to the agreement with the European Union, said the opening day that they do not want impositions in Mercosur, assuring that it is an agreement between strategic partners, so one cannot threaten the other. Lula also said that they must sit down and resolve their differences. In Argentina, social protests continue in the province of Jujuy in response to police repression and the constitutional reform imposed by the governor, Gerardo Morales. 2 weeks after the approval of the reform of the provincial constitution, marches continue to take place in different localities in Jujuy. On Monday, the authorities reported at least 11 roadblocks led by native communities, while the Association of Provincial Educators announced the continuation of the strike in the region for an undetermined period of time to demand salary increases and to demand repeal of the Jujuy Constitution. The authorities have resorted to police repression to try to prevent the protests. In Brazil, a plane carrying government officials from Paraná disappeared on Monday while flying over a jungle and mountainous area of the Atlantic coast. Paraná military police conduct search operations for the aircraft, which was carrying a pilot and two crew members identified as Heitor Genoway Jr., Felipe Furquim, and Jonas Borges Julio. According to the authorities, the twin-engine plane took off at 7:50 local time for the city of Umuruama and the regional airport of Orlando de Carvalho and was heading to the coastal city of Paraguaná. Police said the plane disappeared from radar at the height of Serra do Mar. On Monday, indigenous organizations of the Colombian Amazon demanded greater participation in the presidential summit to be held next August in Brazil. More than 100 indigenous organizations, peasant and Afro-descendant communities, among others, are asking the representatives who will participate in the summit of the state parties to the Amazon Cooperation Treaty to allow spaces for active participation in decision-making for native peoples. One of the central goals of the summit is the progressive collapse of the Amazonian ecosystems, for which these indigenous organizations consider that unilateral decisions cannot be taken without the participation of the native leaders of the Amazon. In Cuba, the draft bill of the Military Penal Code has been analyzed on Monday by the deputies of the Assembly of the People's Power. The exercise is the previous to its presentation in the first period of sessions of the 10th legislature of the Cuban Parliament that will take place on July the 20th. The project, that is available for the citizenship in the website of the Parliament, seeks the wide consensus of the Cuban society as a democratic exercise of collective construction. The text began to be shaped in November of 2021 and gathers regulations related to the defense and the constitutional order, among other aspects, being considered a very complete preliminary draft. And Esteban Lazo Hernandez, president of the National Assembly of People's Power of Cuba, assured that the bill and other issues will demand the maximum performance of the parliament.
And the commissions during those 2 days will deal with 56 different topics. That's to say, no topic of economic and social life can remain unanalyzed by the Commission. And the commissions during those 2 days will deal with 56 different topics. That's to say, no topic of economic and social life can remain unanalyzed by the Commission.
And now let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find the news in different formats, news updates and more. Other studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. Guatemala's donor group, known as G13, has urged the Guatemalan authorities, political parties, and other actors to guarantee the will of the voters in the June 25th elections. In a statement signed by 7 countries of the group, pled with institutions, organizations, supporters, and political actors of the country to preserve the electoral will expressed in the ballot boxes in the first round. The group, upon learning of the decision of the Constitutional Court on July the 1st, when it ordered to suspend the officialization of the results, has prepared the communique in which Germany, Canada, the United States, France, the United Kingdom, Sweden, and Switzerland expressed their support for democracy and transparency in the electoral process. Sweden and Switzerland expressed their support for democracy and also for other legal processes in the Central American country. In the same topic, Guatemalans showed discontent with a Supreme Tribunal ruling to review the outcome of June 25th polls outcome following claims of irregularities. Guatemala will review the outcome of the presidential elections held last month, a tribunal said on Monday, after judges put a halt to the release of official results. June 25th polls saw 2 Social Democrats, Sandra Torres and Bernardo Arevalo, as the main front for the August 20th second round, which means Guatemala will have its first president from the political left. The complaint to the nation's constitutional court was brought by parties including Vamos and of the outgoing president Alejandro Giammattei, whose candidate Manuel Conde came third, and Valor, whose candidate was Suri Rios, the daughter of a former dictator. The first round was marked by a low voter turnout and a high rate of invalid ballots cast, after the exclusion of two popular candidates, Carlos Pineda and Thelma Cabrera, of indigenous origin.
The vote of the Guatemalan people must be respected. If they say that there is democracy, it is the people who must decide, and after they have decided, respect what the people have decided. We are here because we want answers, and we are here because the youth have awakened and we want a different Guatemala.
What they want to do is to continue keeping us in misery, and Guatemala say no more. The people woke up, and it is up to you to put up with it.
On Tuesday, the governments of China and Honduras announced they began to negotiate a free trade agreement after both nations established diplomatic relations with Beijing at the end of March. China's Minister of Commerce, Wang Wentao, indicated that the negotiations will give an impetus to improve the quality and level of bilateral trade and strengthen investment in various fields. On the other hand, the Honduran Foreign Minister, Eduardo Enrique Reina, indicated that the establishment of ties opens a range of possibilities in the areas of trade, infrastructure, finance, energy, technology, science, education, and culture, among others. Shrimp, bananas, melon or watermelon, cigars, and beef are some of the products that Honduras plans to export to China. According to Reina, although he specified that coffee will be the first product that the Central American country will send to the Asian giant. Honduras and China announced last on March 26 the establishment of diplomatic relations, hours after the Central American country made official the rupture of diplomatic relations it had maintained with Taiwan since 1941. The government of Peru announced on Monday that it will soon declare an emergency in Moquegua, in the southeast of the country, due to the increase in the activity of Ubinas volcano. The Prime Minister, Alberto Otárola, informed that the situation forced to raise on Sunday the alert level to orange due to the volcanic activity. On Monday night, the Geophysical Institute of Peru warned of the possibility of explosions in the coming days in the Ubinas volcano, which currently registers an increase in its volcanic activity and reports a constant emission of ashes and gases. Volcanologist Catherine Vargas said that according to the monitoring of the volcano, the presence of magma near the surface has been detected, which will generate possible explosions that could reach heights of more than 2 kilometers above the crater. In other topics, on Tuesday, French Interior Ministry confirmed more than 3,000 arrests nationwide since unrest began on June 27th, when a police officer killed a 17-year-old teenager in the middle of a police checkpoint. Authorities pointed out, although the protests continue, the intensity and violence has decreased in the last few hours. The detainees are being investigated for different acts, among them 270 attacks on police stations, damage to more than 1,000 buildings, and burning of some 5,900 cars. According to reports from local councils and business organizations, the 7 days of riots left damages of around $1 billion. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Tuesday they have foiled an attempted terrorist attack of 5 drones in Moscow and Novaya provinces. According to the Defense Ministry report, 4 of the drones were shot down in Novaya, and the 5th was destroyed by the air defense in Moscow. In the meantime, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement that the attack was aimed at civilian areas, such as Vnukovo Airport, and warned that the warfare devices belong to Western supplies, while Russian authorities qualified the attack as an act of international terrorism. The Ukrainian attacks, which left no damage, coincided with Kiev's announcement of the end of the first phase of the counterattack. And English launches its own videos on demand site for you to go and revisit our interviews, the top stories, the special broadcastings, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click in the video option to access our VOD platform. And now we will have a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In China, a 19% decrease in the drug purchase price index was recorded in 2022 compared to 2018. According to the experts, this reduction is part of the National Bulk Drug Purchase Scheme program led by the government. The drug purchase price index is calculated based on the prices of more than 12,000 types of drugs included in the National Health Insurance Information Platform. They also point out that this program contributes to more than 70% to the decrease in the Western drug index. It is estimated that centralized procurement will save patients 16.7 billion yuan, which is equivalent to about $2.3 billion in medical expenses each year, effectively easing their financial burden. With interventions from China and Russia, the 23rd summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has started in India. The prestigious event in virtual format is chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Chinese President Xi Jinping, of the first to offer statements, has proposed to increase payments amongst members of the organization in the national currencies, as well as to confront color revolutions and the interference of foreign powers. The Russian President Vladimir Putin, for his part, has warned of the potential world crisis due to the accumulation of debt in developed countries. The Indian Premier has welcomed Iran as a member of the organization, to which Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan also belong. Palestinian authorities reported on Tuesday that the death toll from the Israeli military incursion into the northern occupied West Bank city of Jenin has risen to 10. Israeli soldiers continue to search for Palestinian insurgents and weapons in the West Bank refugee camp after military bulldozers razed alleyways and thousands of residents fled for safety. The mayor of Jenin, Nidal Al-Obeidi, said that 4,000 Palestinians fled the camp and are in shelters or with relatives. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation strongly condemned the attacks committed by the Israeli occupation forces on the Palestinian city of Jenin and its camp on Monday. In a statement, said that the targeting of health centers, destruction of vital infrastructure, and demolishing homes and mosques were heinous crimes by the Israeli occupation against the Palestinian people. On Tuesday, a court spokesperson said the 3 African migrants have been arrested as suspects in the stabbing death of a local man in Tunisia's coastal city of Sfax. Sfax, Tunisia's second largest city, is a departure point for many migrants hoping to reach Italy, and tensions have been rising there for months. Fawzi Masmoudi, the spokesperson for the Sfax prosecutor, said the victim, aged in its early 40s, was fatally stabbed on Monday during a scuffle between local residents and migrants from sub-Saharan Africa. Masmoudi said 3 suspects from Cameroon, according to initial information, had been arrested. With a population of 12 million, Tunisia hosts an estimated 21,000 migrants from other parts of Africa, representing the 0.2% of the population. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.